Yogena chittasya padena vacham malam sharirasya cha vaidyakena yopakarottam pravaram muninam patanjalim pranjaliranatosmi. Shanti Shanti Shanti. So rub your palms, keep at the face. So bring the palms down, focus at your palms. So very good evening to all of you. So we will start the session from with a small brief on what we have been discussing so far. So I'm sharing my screen. We talked about Patanjali Yoga Sutras during the last couple of weeks. So we came to understand Patanjali is a grammarian, he's an Ayurvedi, and also he has compiled the Yoga Sutras. So first of all, he has, with grammar, he is cleansing his words. With Ayurveda, the body, and now we talk about yoga. So there he starts the first sutra as, and now yoga. So when he go like that, so we talked about what is the ultimate objective of yoga. It's the chitta vritti nirodha. So we will continue. So then we said when the movements of the mind is stilled, you basically see the real self. Otherwise, always basically the different thoughts which comes to your mind takes the forms, right? So likewise, when we went like this, so then we talked about what are these vrittis and the 5 types of vrittis. So the pure and impure vrittis can be a 5-fold. And then we talked about what are those, how these things are coming up. And then we talked about what is Pramana. So direct perception, inference. Remember the snake example that we took. So likewise, we had different these examples, right? And then we talked about how the erroneous knowledge is coming, the incorrect knowledge, right? So incorrect knowledge comes because of your sense organs have a certain limitation. Plus, with that, what happens is you perceive something non-existing as existing. We took the mirage as the example. Then we talked about even the language, because we have different language. A language can convey something which does not really exist, right? Then we talked about the dreamless sleep, all these kind of things. So likewise, so we talked about this, the waves of the mind, the 5-folded waves of the mind. What are those? And then we talked about what is memory. Then we went to the next step. Basically, we talked about the chittas, different philosophies, how they are defining what is chitta, right? So we talked about that. And then from here, again, we came back and identified what are the 2 things to reach the yoga, right? So we remember always this picture. So whether the rain comes, whether a woman walks in front of you, or it denotes the karma, klesha, right? All these things can come in and go. It doesn't really matter if your mind is controlled. How we are going to do it? Through abhyasa and vairagya. So we talked about what is abhyasa, what is vairagya, and we said abhyasa and vairagya are like 2, what do you call, wings of a bird, right? 2 wings of a bird. So you cannot go to yoga with only abhyasa. You cannot go to yoga with only vairagya, right? So it has to complement each other, which is very important, right? Great. Then we moved into another area. So we talked about abhyasa vairagya. Then we talked about Samadhi, right? So this is our last week's discussion. So let me explain it again in very summary form so that you all understand. So we talked about then vitarka, vichara, ananda, asmita, rupa, anugamat, samprajñataha, right? So when it comes to rupavachara, right, meaning this is basically we concentrate on a particular object and then we try to bring the mind to a particular point. Let's say for an example, we take the sea, the water, the air, the fire, or something like that. So you bring an element, right? And then based on this element, you keep the concentration at one point. So keeping the concentration at one point is what we call as dhyana, right? So there are different levels of dhyana, but initially what we do is, so in Buddhism, we call this kasina, right? So in kasina, what happens is they give a particular object for you and you are supposed to contemplate on that. So for an example, if I tell you water, you only think of water, you think of the qualities of water, only think about that, and then basically your other movements in the mind will get eliminated. So you come to one-pointedness, right? So like that, what happens is you have, so that is the initial stage of samadhi. So in that samadhi, again, you have the vitarka stage. So you have the analytical thinking. You think about water, you have the analytical thinking aspect of it. Then next stage is vichara. There's a reasoning. So you go into reasoning, and then you basically come to a place where there is no logic for you to ask questions anymore. Logic has stopped. Then Ananda, the bliss stage, Asmita Rupa, the sense of I, right, the Jivatma. Then Anugamat, by following, you come to, so these four steps, by following these four steps, you can come to Samprajñata Samadhi, meaning taking a particular thing as an object or a focus, and then from with that, basically, you come to the samadhi or cessation of the thoughts, right? Then we said, from here, when you do that with abhyasa and vairagya, when you do that for a long time, what happens is you can actually come to a place where we call it as asamprajñata samadhi, meaning you come to the one-pointedness, but not based on or depend on a particular object. Without an, so first of all, you took an object. So you take something like this. This is a clock, right? So basically, you keep on watching how the sand is coming down in this, right? And then you keep on looking at it, and then your mind will be only thinking about this. Then asamprajñata samadhi means you basically bring the mind to one point, but without an object. So in Buddhism, we call this as the Arupavachara Samadhi, right? So Rupavachara is just to explain to you, since you must have heard these things. So Pratama Dhyana, Dvitiyaka Dhyana, Tritiyaka Dhyana, all these things are Rupavachara Dhyana, right? And Aking Sanyayatana, Neva Sanyayatana, Na Sanyayatana, all these are basically Arupavachara Dhyana, which is falling under the Asamprajñata Samadhi. So don't worry, we talk about Samadhi, but we did not really get into the detail of how to come to this Samadhi. That is basically discussed after the 30th Sutra in the section 1 or the chapter 1, right? Samadhi Pada. So then there is a Bhava Pratyayo Videha Prakriti Bhava Pratyayo Videha Prakriti Layana, meaning in this state. So you come to a one-pointedness, and then you come to a one-pointedness without an object. So in this stage, you feel like you don't have a body, right? You feel like you are merged with the nature. There is no body, right? So some people think when you come to this stage, I have come to nirvana, I have come to ananda, I have come to the ultimate bliss, right? So I have merged with the God. People think so, but this is actually another state of samadhi only, right? Then, or a dhyana. This is only a dhyana, right? So this is a place where you feel isolation or the loneliness. This is what Patanjali explains. So he says this happens because of vairagya, right? So you feel like loneliness and all kind of things. So why would somebody feel lonely? Because he expects company. When the company is not there, you feel lonely. But if you don't expect the company, if you don't expect anything out of what you do, then nothing for you to feel as loneliness. There is no such a word called loneliness if you don't expect anything out of something, whatever you do, right? So with this state, what happens is, when you don't have the vairagya, what is vairagya again? We have the raga. Vairagya is not that we don't have raga. There is raga. We see what it is, then we go beyond raga, right? It doesn't disturb you anymore, right? You get over with it and move beyond, right? So that is what you call as vairagya, right? So if you don't do your practices without vairagya, what happens is when you come to a dhyana state, you kind of get a feeling of loneliness, right? But if you do it with vairagya, there's nothing called loneliness for you, right? So we will move on. Then he keeps, so basically whatever we learned is what I have summarized here. So we start with the Samprajñat Samadhi, cognitive, Vitarka, Vichara, Ananda, Asmita, Rupa, right? Samskaras are there, right? It doesn't mean that you can keep your mind to a one point, doesn't mean that all your karmas are not, have deleted or disappeared right now. It's there, right? Then Arupavachara Samadhi, you do the continuous abhyasa. Basically, now without an object, you can still bring your mind to one-pointedness. You don't need a physical, outside, external thing for you to concentrate and bring the mind to one-pointedness, right? You can actually do it by yourself. Still, samskaras are there, but it has come to a residue. Why am I saying this? Previously, I had an object. So at least I have some attachment to this. Right now, I don't have the object. So my samskaras have further come down, right? Then what happens is when you further going on, you feel like a bodilessness. So without vairagya, bodilessness feeling makes you feel like you're lonely, right? Why? Because you have not gone beyond the raga totally, right? Still there is a residue there, right? So basically, this is where you, so people think sometimes when you come to this stage, you can actually merge with the energies of the nature, like music. It can be different types of knowledge, right? So those knowledges or these energy forms are examples I told that day. Saraswati is one energy form. If you merge into that, so you get the taste of music, the talking part of it, right? The grammar part of it. If you get into the energy forms of Ganesha, so that is the jnanam, right? So some people use this for their personal benefit. Then coming back to square one, right? So you actually merge into different energies in the nature, right? It can be a good energy, it can be a bad energy as well, right? So that is because you are doing the samadhi or the concentration without proper practice of vairagya, right? So that's what Patanjali says. So in this type of situation, you can get merged into these energies, right? Then moving on, then he says, Shraddha, Virya, Smriti, Samadhi, Pragna, Purva Kaha Itiresham, meaning practice must be pursued with trust, confidence, vigor, keen memory, and power of absorption to break this spiritual complacency. So, what is Shraddha, right? What is Shraddha? What is Bhakti, right? So these are two different words, okay? So I'm going to ask the question from you guys. So I want to know what is, so bhakti, Normally, if you go to the temple every day, right, and let's say you go around the statue 7 times, and then you pour water to it, you offer flowers to it, you do your puja, and you wear white color or whatever the color that you desire. And if somebody wears some other flashy color, you don't feel good about it. So that is kind of bhakti, right? That is bhakti. But Shraddha is much more higher than that. So I would say Shraddha is the superset, Bhakti is a subset, right? Shraddha is the bigger circle, Bhakti is a part of it. So Shraddha is, for an example, you are clear that there is something called the ultimate truth in this world, right? So you want to reach there, right? For that, they say, okay, do this, do that, all this kind of thing. You live a life to reach there by having a full trust on the ultimate truth in this world, or ultimate truth is another word is Ishwara or God or Paramatma. All these is basically the universal truth. There's only one truth in this world, right? Everything else is moha. It does look like truth, but it's not the truth, right? So you have a proper salutation every day in, day out, with the way you walk, with the way you talk, in everything that you do. You are very clear that you are a person who want to live in a life of the ultimate truth. That is Shraddha. But Bhakti can be, I want something done. So because I want something done, these 7 days, I will refrain from eating meat. I will refrain from wearing certain clothes, right? And then after the 7 days, I will go back to my normal life, right? So that is a temporary bhakti. And if somebody asks me, if somebody can tell me, okay, he's a bhakta because he sees me every day in the evening, I go to the temple and worship and tell my sermons really loud. So I'm telling all this every day, 7 p.m. Oh, he's a bhakta. But a person who is a Shraddha can be, he never goes to the temple, but he's very clear of what is a virtuous life and how to live a virtuous life, how to live a righteous life, right? It doesn't mean that, okay, I don't kill animals, but I tell others to kill animals, right? So I don't kill animal, but if somebody else is killing, okay, fine, you can bring it to my shop and sell, no problem. But I don't do that, right? So it doesn't work like that. So there is something called Navavidha Bhakti also. So Shravanam, and then so listening to the sermons, singing the sermons, and then Pada Sevanam, right? You become a servant in front of the God. All these things are Navavidha Bhakti, right? So that is there, but Shraddha is like the ultimate, where you have a proper, you are very clear about it, you are very clear about the universal truth, so you live a righteous, virtuous life. That is Shraddha, right? So you need to have the Shraddha to go in this journey. That's what Patanjali says. That is one of the very, very important things, right? He doesn't talk about bhakti much, but he talks about Shraddha, which is a higher, right? Then he says you need to have the virya. So you meditate today, 2 minutes, and then you get then you feel like, no, when I meditate, I feel upset, right? My knees hurt and all this kind of thing, right? And when I meditate, I sometimes feel hungry, or when I meditate, when I hear some song, then I want to walk away. All these things, no. That is not virya, right? Virya is whatever the environment that you are in. You can be in a forest, you can be in your house, in your room, wherever it is. If you have a one point to go, meaning I will today meditate on water. I will think about water. I will only contemplate on water and try to bring my mind to water, right? About water. So whatever happens, a wind can come and go, people walk in front of you, all these things, somebody come and put an appointment with you, leave all these things apart, right? you must go to your object. So that is what you call as virya, right? Then smriti, recollection, samadhi, perfect absorption of thought, pragna, real knowledge, purvakaha. So basically those are two words which he's explaining. So the practice or your abhyasa has to be done with trust. You need to trust. If you trust, okay, there is something called universal truth. There's only one truth in this world, right? I need to find that, right? I need to know it. So today you think like that, tomorrow you can't be like, yeah, so a lot of people say that there's something like that, but can't be like, I mean, there's only one life, let's live this life and maximum parties, and then we'll die. Then day after again, when you get disappointed with your partying and everything, yeah, this party life is no, not like that, right? There has to be one point, and your mind has to be tuned to go to that one point always, unless if you go like this, you will not reach there, right? So that is what he's telling. Then he go to another one. These are very, very important. I mean, these are like lessons, right? So he says, Tivra samveganam asannaha. What is asannaha? Meaning closer, near, right? Tivra meaning intense. Samveganam, those who are quick, go closer, obviously, right? If you are driving a vehicle also, if you go faster, you will get closer faster, right? But if you go faster but drive like a havoc, then you will not go there. So you need to be very clear, this is the place I want to go, and you keep on going. So how this tivraness can come down, right? Because you don't have the shraddha in your mind. You don't have the trust to where you are going in your mind, right? Think of this as a job example as well. So if you want to reach to a particular place in an organization, you need to work from day 1 to day Z in the same speed. So you need to believe in yourself that you can reach there, or even if you're doing a business, you have a target. So you believe in yourself that you can reach this target. Likewise, you need to believe in yourself that you can become a yogi, then only you can go there. So intense, quick people go closer fast, right? That's what he is telling. Then there are a couple of ways, there are a couple of speeds he's telling, even like when you're driving a vehicle, slow speed, medium, high speed, right? Likewise, he is explaining mrudu, madhya, adhimatratvat, adimatratvat tatha api, meaning mrudu, soft. So it depends. You practice, let's say yoga asana, you practice 10 minutes a day, right? Madhya, 1 hour a day. Adhimatravat, right? Meaning while you are doing your office work, in your seat, you are sitting in Padmasana, 4 hours, right? So likewise, even the meditation, you have to do it in such a way that you keep continuously doing it, right? So how fast you are going is up to you, right? But in the previous sutra, he says, if you are faster, you will go closer soon, right? If you go slow, then there is a long way to go. Meaning, when you go slow, the disturbances are also higher. So when the disturbances are higher rather than less disturbances, there is a higher tendency that you will deviate your focus, right? So then your journey is too slow, right? So then I have put a small table here. So this is not mentioned by Patanjali, but I just got it from somewhere else. So when you say mrudu, so mrudu meaning if you go mild stage, it's vitarka prajna and vichara prajna, meaning intellectual analysis at extreme level. Vichara is subtle differentiation, knowledge, and mental alertness. So intellectually, you will keep questioning. You will question the things that you see. So you see a object in front of you, you will start questioning about it, right? And then you will start, differentiating the knowledge with mental awareness, meaning the gut feeling, mental alertness, right? Not that when you see something, what is this? What is this? No. When you see something, oh, this is this. You get the alertness like that. Then Madhya, right? So if you even further advance, so Madhya is, they say Ananda Pragna, Asmita Pragna. So knowledge of bliss, knowledge of the self. So you must have seen these sadhus and these monks and other people who meditate. So they say in India, these people are called jnanis, right? And they say you can't argue with a jnani. Why you can't argue with a jnani? Because you can't win an argument by arguing with them. They will always win. Because they have this particular supreme knowledge, right? At least they're reaching closer to the supreme knowledge. So when they see something, they see the true picture rather than the covered picture. So when you see a chair, they will see, okay, this chair is a mix of the 5 elements. So this patavi, or the earth part of it, or the, what do you call, not the earth, the roughness is higher in this, air element is lower in this, and the fire element is lower in this. So likewise, he will see the 5 elements, which means whatever he sees the true picture of it. Rather than, okay, this chair, sofa, couch, all these different built-in pictures, right? So these are the people who actually have come to the knowledge of bliss, right? Doesn't matter. Whatever you see the elements in it, right? It doesn't matter. Like how we, you go to a shop, there are ample number of chairs. Now you can't figure out what to buy. So they will just go to and say, give me something that I can sit. Go get the chair and walk out, right? Then they say adhimatra. So mrudu, madhya, adhimatra. Intense practice. So they say vashikara prajna, virama pratyaya, bhava pratyaya, upaya pratyaya. So subjunction of desires, cessation of brain functions, which means, differentiation factor, nothing is to be differentiated, everything is the same for them, right? Mental quietness, isn't this what we all want, right? So when you see something, thoughts don't keep on coming saying, this could be this, why it's like this is this, I have seen it somewhere like this, and this is cheap, this is expensive. Those things will not come to your mind, right? Upaya pratyaya, upaya is skillful. Upaya is skillful always. So when you do the practices intensely like this, so these are certain levels that your mind will go to. So if you see all these levels when you go, so first of all, you will keep on questioning. Then you will try to understand what is the meaning of things, right? The logic comes to an end. Then you will be like, everything is the same, right? Then you will not have a desire for certain things, right? Then brain function will say, okay, what is better, this one or this one? This is good, bad. So good, bad doesn't exist, right? Then the mental quietness will come, right? And then paravairagya, meaning tivra samvegana. So mrudu, mild, madhya, medium, adhimatra, intense, and tivra, maximum, right? That's what you call as paravairagya. There's a small spelling mistake here. Paravairagya, right? So supreme detachment, meaning this or that doesn't make a difference to you. And let's say if it is a food, you eat it, your food body got settled, you move on, right? When tomorrow, when you want to eat, this thought will not come to your mind. Oh, yesterday had a nice biryani, right? Yesterday had this, like that. No. So food comes, food goes in, you move on, right? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what it is and all. So you are not getting attached to them, right? So basically, this is the 3 or 4 stages. When you intensify your practice, the stages that you will reach, right? Then, so we basically talked about what is yoga, 5 compulsive states, how to control, abhyasa vairagya, Then we talked about the samadhi states. Still, I'm explaining you the journey, right? If you go like this happens, this happens, this happens. If you make it intensified, this will happen. And then this is the next stage, likewise. Then we are going to learn another new concept called Sutra 23 to 29, Ishwara Pranidhana or Ishwara, right? Now let's understand what is Ishwara, right? Okay, so Sutra number 23. So till this point, if you are, I don't know whether you can unmute yourself. Till this point, is everybody clear? You have any questions? You can ask anything. You can unmute yourself. Yes. Are we all good? If you are good, you can have a thumbs up. Yeah. Okay. Okay, good. So then we are going to get the explanation for Ishwara Pranidhana. So Sutra number 23 says, Ishwara Pranidhanatva. Ishwara is universal soul or the universal truth. Pranidhanat meaning renunciation of the fruits of action or contemplate on the universal truth. Right? So they say chitta, he says, chitta may be restrained by profound meditation upon or total surrender to the universal soul, right? So when you say Ishwara, in certain religions, they say, okay, there is a creator, there is a God who created everything. So that is my God, right? That is the Ishwara. But in Patanjali's Sutra, what he says as Ishwara Pranidhana is the universal or ultimate truth. In Sinhala, we call it Parama Satya, right? So this is what you mean as Ishwara Pranidhana. It doesn't mean that, okay, for a human, the God can look like a bigger human. For a dog, the God can look like a bigger dog. No. There's no such a mental image here. What Patanjali says is Ishwara Pranidhana, meaning the ultimate truth. In Sanskrit, we also call this Paramatma, right? So, ultimate truth. So, when you contemplate on ultimate truth, you can actually bring your mind have up to a stillness, right? It's a way of meditation. Now, then Patanjali says, 24th Sutra, Klesha Karma. I'm pretty sure you have heard about these things. Klesha Karma Vipaka Asayyaha Aparam Aparam Mritaha Purusha Vishesha, then Ishvaraha. Here, Purusha Visheshaha Ishvaraha, right? Klesha Karma Vipaka Asayyaha Aparamritaha Purusha Vishesha Ishvaraha, meaning Klesha is the pain, stress, all these things, kleshas. You know what kleshas is. Pain to pleasure to everything is a pain at the end of the day. So that's what we mean as kleshas. Karma. Karma is the action, right? Whatever you do is a karma. If you talk to somebody, that is karma. If you hit somebody, that is karma. If you pat somebody, pat a pet, that is also karma. Any action is a karma, right? Then vipaka. Karma and vipaka don't mix up. Karma is your action. Vipaka is the result of that action, right? So karma can be, you are like full of love, you treat somebody, right? Vipaka would be something good. Then because you just committed some other day, you just give a meal to somebody, right? So there is an action. For an outsider might say, oh, they always, give away, give alms and everything. But inside you did it with bad intention. So the vipaka will not be good, right? So karma is the action. Vipaka is the result of that action. Then asayyaha, reservoir, right? Aparamritaha, right? Which means not connected at all, meaning when you look at the full sentence down below, God or universal truth, you can call either universal truth or God, same meaning, is a supreme being, totally free of conflicts, unaffected by actions and untouched by cause and effect. You must have heard this, right? So they say sometimes you go beyond good, bad, punya, apunya, right? Cause and effect. So you basically go beyond this, right? All these jnanis, all the yogis have gone beyond good and bad, karma, vipaka, all these things, right? So if you contemplate on the universal truth or the universal soul, basically which means you are going beyond this whole good, bad, and all these things, which means goods, bads, likes, dislikes, karma, vipaka, everything is connected, right? In a particular cycle, which we call as samsara, right? So if what it talks about here is, if you contemplate on the universal truth, if you merge into that layer, which means you are beyond samsara, right? That's what is mentioned here in this 24th sutra, right? Good. Then we go to 25th sutra. Tatra nirati shayam sarvajnana bijam, right? Tatra nirati shayam sarvajnana bijam. Tatra, therein, or in him. Who is him? The ultimate truth, or we can also call it as God, right? Niratishayam, matchless. Niratishayam, meaning that God who cannot be compared with anyone is what we call as sarvajnana, all-knowing, all-wise. Bijam, the seed or the source of everything. Meaning, God, universal truth, is the unexcelled seed of all knowledge. Right? So, since there are different people who are attached to different religious beliefs, right? So, in Buddhism, this is what you call as the Lord Buddha's Sarvajñata Jnana. In any Jataka story, right, it starts saying on this particular day, Lord Buddha, early in the morning, he reached the world through the Sarvajñata Jnana and then identified a person or group of people who can understand his teachings today and then, come to a blissful stage, right? So that particular jnana, right, which means everything is there in it, right? That is the source of all the knowledge. When you reach there, we call it the Sarvajñata Jnana. That is unmatched, right? Basically, there's only one Sarvajñata Jnana, right? You have to reach there, right? So that is, when you reach there, that's the source of everything. They say the knowledge is in the air or knowledge is everywhere, right? It's like a radio frequency. Why can't we tune in? Because our mind can't tune in to one frequency. The frequency of the mind runs all over the place. In a radio, when you, if you remember, not these digital radios right now, press of a button, it comes to a particular frequency. This particular knob, right? You have this particular knob, and when you try to tune the radio, it goes from one frequency to another frequency likewise. But even if there's one frequency that you can hear something, there are other frequencies come and disturbs, right? Your mind is exactly like that. You can't come to one frequency. Whenever you come to one frequency, these different things come and disturb you. Why? Kleshas. kleshas, karma, vipaka, good, bad, punya, apunya. Because you are stuck in the samsaric cycle, all these frequencies are mixed together. Now, for you to properly tune in to the Paramatma or the God or the universal truth, ultimate truth, Sarvajnata Jnana, Parama Satya, everything talks about one thing, right? So if you want to tune in, right, when you tune into that, you are not getting disturbed with all other frequencies. The disturbances factor, right, which is called the samsara, or there is a samsara, there are a couple of factors which, because of that only you are stuck in the samsara, everything is gone beyond when you reach here, right? So when you reach there, that is the Sarvajnata Jnana, right? That's what Patanjali explains in the Sutra number 25, right? Don't worry, you may be thinking, yeah, he talks about these things, but he don't tell how to go there. There are 3 more chapters left, right? And 195 sutras, is 25 done, not even 1/4, right? Still like definition stage, like a legal contract, right? Legal contract, first couple of pages, definitions. Unless you know the definitions, you can't read the contract, right? Better you get the definitions right, then reading and understanding is not a problem. Okay, moving on. 26. Sa eshaha Purvesham api guruhu kalena anavachedat, right? Sa eshaha purvesham api guruhu kalena anavachedat, meaning that universal truth is the first foremost, and also that is the master for all the yogis. Meaning there is only if you can reach the universal truth, this universal truth has been the teacher for everybody. And it doesn't matter whether it was 15,000 years ago, 2,600 years ago, or yesterday, because it's not attached to the time factor. Universal truth can be only one universal truth. It's not like a software sprint, right? Today, Zoom version 1.0, there's a bug. Zoom 2.0 tomorrow, right? This bug factor is not there. Universal truth, ultimate truth can't have issues, right? Which means it's all the same, one software forever, right? So what it says is God or universal truth is the first and absolute guru, unconditioned by time. What is time? Time is a measure implemented by humans. Who is human? What is the human population in this world? Like a speck of dust, right? You look at the sea animals, you look at the number of ants in your own room can be sometimes higher than the whole country's population or the world population, depend on how clean you keep your room, right? Can be sometimes the city, it can be equal to the number of people in the city, or the country can be the whole universe, right? So if you take the human is a very insignificant thing, right? And we live in a small world. Here we have humans, and this world is part of a galaxy called Milky Way. In the Milky Way, Earth is a speck of dust. And the Milky Way is situated in a multiverse, right? In that, the Milky Way is a speck of dust, right? So that is situated in more and more. So you know this shape where all the galaxies are situated, right? In this, Milky Way is not even a speck of dust. So in that Milky Way, in a place called Earth, a couple of scientists came up with something called time, right? And time doesn't affect the universal truth, right? The master is not affected by the time. So that's why even Patanjali's Yoga Sutra, 196 sutras, Buddhism, Jainism, all these things are actually telling the same thing to one place, right? And it is not changed due to time. Simple as that, right? Good. Then, 27th sutra, he says, he is represented with the sacred syllable Om, right? So the Om is the sound of the universal truth. There are different layers of explanations to this, but I will tell you the very simplest explanation, right? Om is made out of 3 syllables and actually 4 syllables. One is A, U, M, and silent, right? A, U, M, and silent. A, we say it's generated through the Manipuraka chakra area. U is generated through the Anahata. So basically it's getting generated at the Manipurakam, and then it comes to the Anahata, and then the third syllable, comes to the Vishuddhi chakra, right? So anything in this world is also having 3 stages, right? Generation, preserve it, and destroy. Anything. All the cells in your body right now getting generated, living and dying right now at this moment, right? So generation we call in Hinduism what? Brahma. Then preserving you call it as Vishnu. Then destroying you call it as Rudra. And then the silent syllable is what you call as Nirvana. So there was something generated, it lived, it got destroyed, now it's gone forever, right? So these are the 4 syllables. So universal truth is denoted by the syllable Om. Again, that is one level of explanation. Now, you take the chakras, it gets generated from Anahata chakra. Sorry, it gets generated from Manipuraka, which is around the navel. Then it comes to the heart. Heart is what actually even keeps you alive. This is the preservation then. Then it comes to Vishuddhi, the sound once get generated, get destroyed at the Vishuddhi, right? Then after is gone, it's a silent syllable. That is another level of explaining it. Another one. If you take your mouth right now, if I ask you, without using your tongue, generate a sound. Open your mouth, put the air out from the body, right? Right? That is akara. Then you close the mouth a little bit. See what happens. Meaning ukara. Then I'm going to destroy the sound. I'm going to close the mouth, right? Once the breath is over, silent. That is the nirvana stage. There is one particular Upanishad specifically talk about pranava. Pranava is omkara. Pranava is the name for the Om, right? So the God is, or the universal truth is denoted by Om, right? So meaning no manipulation, it's just the sound coming out, right? This is the first verse of Tirukkural, right? They say just like the sound akara, right? Meaning the sound of the nature, right? Sound of the nature is Om, right? I did not use my tongue to manipulate the sound. Comes and then close, that's it. So generates, preserve at oo, and then close, gone. So that is the whole cycle of everything in this world, right? Something gets generated from the nature, it preserves, it goes. And then if it doesn't have another, tanha, asha, and all these kind of things, you will not be born again. Silence. This is the universal truth in this world, nothing else. This is it, right? Because you get attached and all this, why? Because you are confused with this simple fact. You think you will live forever. You think you will be there to enjoy something. You think you invest on something today, you will be living to enjoy it. Yes, you will live. Will you enjoy it to the expectation? No. all these things come because you don't get this thing right. Okay. Then he says, tat japaha. Japa is meditate or muttering the sound again and again. Tat japaha. Tat means that. That means Om. Doing japa of that. Tadartha bhavanam. Tadartha bhavanam. What is bhavanam? Bhavana means bhavana, meditation, right? So the mantra Om is to be repeated constantly with feeling, realizing its full significance. Do this tonight, right? Close your eyes. You need to go for like 4 notes. Let's say like that, right? So keep on doing this, right? What it says is the mantra Om has to be repeated constantly with the feeling, realizing its full significance, right? This is what you call as there is a meditation also called Om meditation, right? So you keep on chanting Om and you contemplate on it, you fully concentrate on that, right? All your troubles for the day will be gone. But since we just do it then, and then we only talk about it, but we are not doing it, so the troubles come again, right? So you have to continuously abhyasa, do it with vairagya, right? Then, so that is the 28th sutra. 29th sutra, tatha pratyakshetana adhigama api antaraya abhava. Meaning meditation on God with the repetition of the Om removes the obstacles to the mastery of the inner self, right? So guys, what it says is you need to meditate on contemplating on the ultimate truth. When you contemplate and meditate on the ultimate truth for a longer time, continuously, in a Tivra way, you basically realize the ultimate truth, right? This is it. 1, 2, 3, 4 things are there in this world, right? If you get it, right, basically you master the inner self within, right? So that's the whole Om or the Ishwara Pranidhana part of it, right? I know it's a little too much, but next day it'll be fine. Don't worry, right? So from there we will stop the discussion for today. Om Purnamadam Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Shanti Shanti Shanti. Right. So have a great evening. Have a great rest of the week ahead. So enjoy. Thank you.